Check out the kingdom, you guys. This is the type of beauty that we're supposed to be around constantly. This camera does this no justice, but these white trees are phenomenal. The way that I feel around these bring me right back to my childhood. I've always been at awe around these incredible entities, and trees are absolutely 100% undeniably living entities, folks. I've talked about this in a handful of my Kundalini videos. In states of higher consciousness, such as Gnosis or Kundalini, when you look at a tree, you see a tree for what it actually is. You see, the way that we interact with nature right now is limited by our lack of perceptual fluidity. The way that we were raised here in the Matrix took away our childhood imagination, which is intimately connected to our connection to nature, folks. So we have what I like to call imprisoned subconscious minds. We've been given all these strange beliefs about the world and about ourselves, and it limits largely the way that we interpret the information of the outside world. So the belief systems in the subconscious are intimately connected. So we've talked about that in a handful of videos. I just want to stay on point here. Look at the beauty of these trees. Look at the beauty of the kingdom. Imagine what it would be like if we were raised the right way, if we weren't raised in this kind of prison kind of system that we live in, where we learn to, we have to go to work and just to make ends meet, and we have to let go of this kind of stuff on behalf of that. And I'm not saying that you can't work and still appreciate trees. I do. But guys, we're violating the laws of our inherent design. I'm pretty sure that nature has a hell of a lot more to offer than the Matrix. And I think that that's why the Matrix wants us to stay out of it. They don't want us walking on the earth barefoot. They don't want us grounded. And they keep it really hidden, don't they? I mean, they keep it around you in the Matrix, right? These trees they're around you in the Matrix. You drive by them. Oh, honey, look, it's pretty. Look at. Yeah, those bushes are cool. They've got some blue leaves on them. Check that out. But when you're looking at things from the Matrix, after you've been indoctrinated by it, you're not seeing. We've talked about how there's a difference between looking and seeing seeing something. Anyone can look at something. That doesn't mean that you're actually seeing it for what it is. In the same way that anyone can look at a code of sorts or a cryptic kind of puzzle or a hidden message, but unless you're able to see past the coding, you can't really see what's contained within that code or hidden message or puzzle, now can you? Now the same goes with nature, the kingdom. Christ consciousness, the risen Kundalini, the awakened and aroused fire of the serpents, anoints our brain with the holy oil and allows us to see through the first eye, which is just a metaphor for when all the schisms in your programmed brain and consciousness and body unite and you see things the way that you were designed to see them. When the oil, when the sacred serpentine energy gets into the head and you access the promised land, when you experience consciousness or gnosis consciousness or enlightenment, you can now see things instead of just looking at them. Now, I'm not saying that after my Kundalini awakenings, I can now see things or these trees for what they are. I am, however, saying that when the Kundalini moved through my system, it unlocked my perceptual fluidity and it allowed me for brief periods of time to interact with nature and trees in a very, very intimate way, where these trees showed me certain things about my anatomy. Now, most people, when they hear that, would think that when most people hear something like that, they're going to think you're insane. I'm over that whole, we're maintaining, the mold consciousness. I'm so over trying to conform to the status quo. I don't care if people think that I'm insane, because let me tell you, it's usually the people that think I'm crazy that I think are the craziest. So I guess the feeling's mutual, huh? But look at this. Look at this. Does that not just blow you away? The beauty? Look at the detail of this. What are you talking about, bro? I'd rather look at my plasma screen TV. Well, not me. Not me. The kingdom. The holy kingdom. These trees are incredible. You know, I was thinking the other day about how the Matrix taught us how to look at everything. It taught us how to define everything. And through it teaching us how to define everything, we began to look at everything through the lens of what it wanted us to look at. How would I say it? Excuse me. I was doing some thinking the other day when I was walking with Luna, and I was looking at these birds in these trees. And I was thinking to myself, you know, if I wouldn't have come into the Matrix and been told what birds are and this, that, and the other, if I would have never been told or taught how to speak a language or look at reality through the lens of someone else's ideas and beliefs, which is what we learn when we learn language, folks, let me tell you, because you learn to think through language instead of symbols. You learn to create thoughts with words instead of subconscious images. So that's really important to understand. And the ancient Egyptians realized this, and that's what the hieroglyphics, it was like a subconscious language. But I was thinking, I was like, you know, if I had never been taught how to interpret reality, I would think that the birds in these trees were like part of the tree. Because they sit in the trees and they make all these beautiful noise. They have a symbiotic connection with the tree, and then they fly off. But they come back and they move back and forth between these trees. I would think that maybe the birds had a sacred connection to the tree, and maybe, like, imagine that. Would you actually, if you weren't taught to see things as being different from one another, would you really think that a bird would be separate from a tree or anything in nature? Now, that's kind of a difficult thing to explain, and it probably sounds crazy. But folks, once you see the connections between everything, it's hard to neglect seeing those connections. It really is. So, I had this weird, almost semi-altered state of spontaneous consciousness while I was walking Luna the other day, and I was looking at these trees, and there was like 50 of these little birds in the tree, chirping and making all this beautiful noise. Imagine if you hadn't been taught what a damn bird was, or this, that, and the other, and you walked by the tree, and the tree was singing, and then you saw these little creatures flying out of it. Again, I don't really know exactly how to express how I felt. Well, I felt that, but it was just, and it probably sounds crazy, but I don't give a damn. Again, I'm so over trying to fit into the status quo. I'm removing my perceptual blinders and going back to my imagination. I am. But I just want to remind you that the way that you look at things is predicated upon how you were taught to look at things. And how you were taught to look at things says everything about who you are. Because it becomes how you look. It becomes who you... It becomes the lens that you look at everything through. Peace be with you.